Goddesses and gods gather around. Welcome to Mythology and Makeup. I'm Vanessa, and I'm thrilled to share my passion of Greek mythology with you while I get ready for the day. Let's uncover the fascinating stories of mythology together, from Athena's wisdom to the captivating stories of the Muses and everything in between. So grab your brushes and a mirror, and let's unleash the beauty and magic within. Last week we left off with Apollo, so let's continue on this crazy ride. We're starting with Hermes. Hermes is the god of herbs, flocks, and travelers, trade, writing, and astronomy, and the messenger of the god. Hermes was the child of Zeus and the nymph Maia. One of the Pleiades, besides the sisters, who were eventually placed in the sky as called constellations. When Maia was pregnant with Hermes, she gave birth in a cave on Mount Kyllene. She actually liked Zeus, which is very rare for a woman to return her interest. She and Zeus would often spend time together in the middle of the night when Hera was sleeping. She was a private woman who really didn't associate with many of the gods. Hermes was born in the morning around lunchtime. He had invented the lyre by the afternoon. He escaped his cradle and planned to steal Apollo's cattle. He's a baby, okay? This is the exact same day that he was born. The invention of the lyre happened because the baby Hermes was distracted by a tortoise. In the moment his mother left, he told the tortoise his plans for what he was going to do to it. He told he would make it sing, so he killed it, cut off its limbs, and hollowed out its shell, which then he attached various strings and threads, thus inventing the lyre, basically a harp. At this point, he's still a baby. So he makes his way to Apollo's cattle. And he found them eating. And he snuck in and began to walk them to a whole completely different region. He disguised their tracks by walking backwards so that it would look like they walked into their enclosure, not out of it. Apollo had no idea Hermes ended up walking the cattle all over Greece, and encountering only one man who was tending his vineyards. He asked the man to keep his secret, and before finally sacrificing 2 of the cattle and eating his fill, he hid them and returned to the cave as though nothing had happened. This little baby just was like, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to take this herd of cattle to the other side of Greece without Apollo catching me. Apollo was looking high and low for his cattle. Eventually he stumbled upon the man in his vineyard and asked him if he had seen anyone with any cattle. The man told Apollo that he had seen an infant with his cattle. And so I guess not very great at keeping secrets. Did he even try to lie? Or was it the intimidation of Apollo that he was like, oh, let me not lie to this god. What would happen to me? Apollo ended up seeing an omen that told him that most definitely a child of Zeus had done this, but didn't know who. Hermes was so young that none of the other Olympians even knew that he existed. So Hermes wasn't even on Apollo's radar. Zeus had so many children, so Apollo's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which one did it? Apollo followed the tracks and whatever clues he could find. And eventually, after so much time searching in so many dead ends, he ended up at a cave on Mount Kyllene. Apollo searched the cave and Hermes was hiding. But after Apollo searched the whole cave, he found Hermes, and calling him out like, "What are you doing, little dude? Where are my cattle?" Apollo ended up threatening to send him to the underworld unless he told him where and what he did with his cattle. Hermes insisted that he had no idea what had happened to Apollo's cattle. So Zeus was brought in to settle the fight between the two. Just imagine this grown man fighting with this newborn baby. I don't know many newborn babies that can talk anyways, so he brought the two Olympians to Mount Olympus, and they both made their cases. And still a baby, and Hermes was still a baby at this time. So he's just sitting there, you know, in his little diaper. Like, it wasn't me. I swear it wasn't me. Eventually, Hermes cracked, though, and was like, okay. I guess I'll show you where I took the cattle. So he took Apollo and Zeus to the spot where he hid the rest of the cattle. And Apollo was so happy to have them returned that he was furious. Only furious that Hermes had killed only 2 of them as a baby. So I guess just babies are capable of doing anything in Greek mythology, because personally, if I was that man tending my vineyard and I saw this little baby leading a herd of cattle, I wouldn't be like, yeah, bruh, let me go ahead and just lie for you. I'd be like, where's your mom? Where is your mother? You need to go get her right now, because, what are you doing? Next, we're going to get into Dionysus. Dionysus is the god of theater, wine, visitation, pleasure, and madness. He was the fun god, the party god, the only Olympian born of a mortal woman. He is the descendant of Cadmus, the founder of Thebes. And so he's associated with the city's history as well as the curse, but was not affected by it. He is often described as the god who returned to the Greek world from the east. There's evidence that Dionysus is the first god that was worshipped in the Greek world, appearing in writings from the earliest languages of the Greeks. He was also worshipped the longest. Dionysus is often described as a young, gender-fluid individual carrying a glass of drinking wine in his reed staff. There's so much to say about Dionysus, and to multiple books on how people worshipped him varied greatly in this presentation. But simply, though, he was the god of the people. One regular human could relate to more than the other Olympians. Oh, what am I doing? This manifested his symbols of wine and theatrical performance. In the Greek tragedy, the by Periphetes, he arrived in Phoebus, the city of his birth, disguised as a priest. With him were the Maenads, a group of women devoted to worship. Being at Dionysus, he eventually found the king Pentheus, which was his cousin, who was actively denouncing the god and telling the people of Thebes not to worship this new god and threatening to punish them if they did. The king and others refused to acknowledge that Dionysus was a god. Agave, I am pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong because, I mean, it's spelled like agave. But anyways, this was Dionysus' aunt and the king's mother. Among other women, began involved in a group worshipping Dionysus. She and many other women retreated to nearby forests, where they partied hard. They drank wine, danced, singing, ripping animals to shreds. And eventually, the king found out about this, and he was not too happy. My own mother, well, I don't think he knew that it was his mother was involved. I know I've already done red eyeliner before, but I think I'm going to do like a deeper red eyeshadow to match my dress that I'm wearing. So, anyways. So, the king made a plan to send soldiers in to slaughter all the women worshipping Dionysus, even if it was his own mother. Their actions were so against the norm that the king believed that they deserved to be put to death. Dionysus, still in disguise, persuaded the king that it was not necessary, and he suggested that the king himself should spy on the women while disguised as one of them. And so the king agreed. By this time, driven to madness, Dionysus came up with a brilliant idea that he should climb up into a tree to watch these women party. And so he did. And as soon as he got up to the top of the tree, Dionysus revealed himself and pointed out the king at the top of the tree. This action drove the maidens completely mad. They pulled the king down from the tree and ripped him limb from limb. When it was all over, Agave returned to the city holding her son's head in her hands, that she believed that it was the head of a lion, and said that she was able to defeat a lion herself. She was so proud of herself, but eventually the madness wore off, and her father, Cadmus, revealed to her that she had murdered her own son. I gotta say, she was probably real upset after she realized what she did. I mean, it sounded like they were doing more than just drinking and dancing in those woods. Anyways, the ancient Greeks would hold an annual festival in Athens where 3 playwrights would compete for the top prize. It always began with a sacrifice to Dionysus and included a procession of phallic statues that traveled throughout the city. So Dionysus just liked to party. But he's saying, well, you're not going to worship me? Oh, just look what I got in store for you. I am a god. So that brings the Olympians to a close. They will be in other stories of the other characters in Greek mythology. So now we're going to move on to the deities. These are beings who are simply not mortals or even heroes, but are also not the main gods. These are the stories of the Titans, the nymphs, the lesser gods, and even the monsters. I'm going to start with the Titans. There are 12 of them. They were the children of the original gods Gaius and Dionysus. Their names are Kronos, the leader of the Titans and the god of time; Rhea, Kronos' wife, the queen of the Titans, and she ruled over motherhood and fertility; Oceanus represented the sea and was the oldest Titan. Theseus, she was the wife of Oceanus and a sea goddess. Hyperon, the Titan of light and the father of Helios. Thea, married to Hyperon, goddess. She's the goddess of brightness and shining. There's Phoebe. She is the goddess of brightness and intelligence, mother to Leto. Themis ruled over law and order, mother of the fates and the hours. Koios is the goddess of intelligence and the stars. Mnemosyne represented memory. She was the mother of the muses. Circus, the Titan of the heavenly constellations. Lepus, the god of mortality, father of some of the most powerful Titan children. These 12 had children. Those 12 had children, lots of them. In my first video, I told the story of Kronos' downfall and how Rhea made sure that it would happen. During the war against the gods and the Titans, the women Titans remained neutral, so they weren't sent to Tartarus. And some of them had children with Zeus. And I'm only going to go into detail on the more important Titans, because some of them were imprisoned in Tartarus, so there's not that, many stories about them. So first is Prometheus and Epimetheus. Prometheus is a Titan god of forethought, and Epimetheus is his brother, the god of afterthought. So, god of afterthought. It doesn't make you very smart, because don't think before you do. They were the two of the Titans that sided with the Olympians during the war. Prometheus was famous for not only gifting humans with fire, but also tricking Zeus into allowing them to retain the best cuts of the sacrificial meats for themselves. He was a forward thinker in the family, the one who really thought out all of his actions before doing anything. His brother was quite the opposite. In some versions of the origin of humanity, men were created by Prometheus and Epimetheus. They were assigned to do this by the gods. But Epimetheus was not very good at such things. So he gave away all the meaningful traits to the animals, leaving none for the human. He gave things such as fur, scales, camouflage. They were all taken. Prometheus, feeling bad for the humans who had no protection, decided to give them the ability to walk upright. One of the only things that he could think of to give them the upper hand over animals and the means to create fire. While the story varies in Greek mythology, it is agreed that in the beginning, there were only men, and they did not inherently have the ability to create fire. So Prometheus gave them that ability. Prometheus stole the fire from Mount Olympus itself, hiding it in a funnel stake and sneaking it away, and gave it to the humans, which pissed Zeus off. But what doesn't piss Zeus off? Everything pisses Zeus off. So he gave the humans the fire. Zeus would have preferred that the humans to be much more useless and helpless. Prometheus had a special connection with people, perhaps maybe because he was the one that created them. So he's like, you know what? Let me help these beings out, bro. Like, I created you. Let me help you out. Give you something. Not only did he gift the humans fire, he also tricked Zeus into allowing them to sacrifice the worst meats to the gods while keeping the best pieces for themselves. So Prometheus cut up an ox into pieces, taking the most disgusting pieces and wrapping them in fat. He took the most edible pieces and appealing pieces and wrapped them in leftover skin. He then took these 2 packages to Zeus and was like, hey, these are your options. Which one do you want the humans to have, and which ones do you want the humans to sacrifice to you? And Zeus, being Zeus, was like, the better looking one, obviously. Let me get the one that, was wrapped in the fat. Didn't look inside the packages, just on appearance its own. Zeus was furious with this little trick that Prometheus had pulled. He promised vengeance on both Prometheus and the humans. Since Prometheus had insisted on helping at the expense of the gods, Zeus did not give a fuck. He was like, you know what, bro? I'm sick of you. First, you steal the fire. Second, you're like, let's have the gods have the shittiest pieces of meat. Because why not? Zeus first punished the humans in that story, and that story will be told in Pandora's entry. Once the humans' punishment was satisfied, Zeus was satisfied with the humans' punishment, he moved on to Prometheus. But you would think, since Prometheus helped Zeus in the war against the Titans, he would be, grateful. No, he didn't care. Did not care. He's like, what? You helped me? No, you didn't ever do anything but trick me and help these helpless humans. So, he was far too frustrated with Prometheus to even care about anything. Zeus's punishment for Prometheus was that Prometheus was to be taken to a mountain where he would be chained to a rock, and once he was securely fastened, Zeus sent an eagle, his symbolic animal, to peck at his stomach, eventually pecking out all his liver in the most excruciating way imaginable. Overnight, Prometheus would heal, because he's immortal, so he can't die. So he would heal, and right when he was done healing, it would happen all over again, from day in and day out for generations, until Heracles arrived to free him from this punishment. Epimetheus was given a gift from Zeus, and this gift was Pandora, which led to the introduction of evil into the world. I'm going to do my eyeliner off camera real quick, and then I'll be right back. All right, back. Next is Atlas. Atlas is also the son of Epimetheus. I believe I'm pronouncing that wrong again. Unlike his brothers, Atlas sided with the Titans, supporting Kronos against Zeus. And due to Kronos' advanced age, Atlas led the Titans into battle instead of Kronos. Since he did this, Zeus set his eyes on him for a special punishment. He made Atlas hold up the world on his back. Metis is a Titaness of fourth day. She presided over wisdom and knowledge. Like I said in Zeus's entry, she either was his first wife or his first affair, but she became pregnant with Athena when they hooked up. Leto is a Titan goddess of motherhood, protector of the young. Her children are Artemis and Apollo. She is the daughter of the Titans Phoebe, the goddess of bright shining intellect, and Coeus, the god of rational intellect. Maybe I should have done my mascara off camera too. Early in the Zeus and Leto were together. Now, was it a relationship of love and affection or another one of Zeus's many assaults? But anyhow, Leto became pregnant, as they do, but she was pregnant with twins. And as always, Hera found out about Zeus and Leto and her pregnancy. She was pissed. She swore she'd prevent Leto from giving birth in whatever way that she could. You know, Hera could definitely be a raging bitch when she wanted to. And this is an example of it. So Leto wandered in search of somewhere she could give birth. She traveled everywhere, Greece and much of Minor Asia, but no one would welcome her. This is probably because nobody wanted to anger Hera by allowing Leto to give birth. Finally, she came upon a floating island. It was believed that this island was not attached to Earth, but instead floated through the sea. And since it wasn't attached to the Earth, she was able to give birth on this island. First, she gave birth to Artemis, who then helped her deliver her brother Apollo. Because of this, Artemis became the goddess of childbirth, and once Apollo was born on the island became sacred to him, and it was renamed Delos. This island is incredibly important to the history of ancient Greece, and it was sacred long before it's attributed as the twins' birthplace. And together, the family of three were the protectors of the young. And another telling of the story involves Leto's sister, Astrea, who is the mother of the witch goddess Heracrate. Astrea was pursued by Zeus, but she managed to escape him by transforming herself into a quail. After she became a quail, she then jumped into the sea to escape Zeus even further. While in the water, she was transformed into an island, which was renamed Delos, where the children were born. I feel like that's pretty interesting. Like, I do like that version of that story because her sister made it possible for Leto to give birth somewhere safely. And one of the most important stories about Leto involves a mortal woman named Niobe. She was famous for having 14 children. Her brother was a man named Pelops. She lived in Thebes, where she married the king Amphion. Together they had 7 daughters and 7 sons. She was very proud of her children, both as people and the sheer volume of them. While discussing her children and her own achievement of giving birth to 14 of them, she compared herself to Leto. She noted that she had 14 children while the goddess of motherhood only had 2. She felt herself far more superior than Leto. In this disrespect, making the statement out loud was a massive mistake for a mortal woman. The comparison was overheard by the gods Leto, Artemis, and Apollo, who were absolutely pissed off that Niobe would say that she was better than the god because she had more children. The gods did not wait for no apologies. No, they did not. In anger, Artemis killed all 7 of Niobe's daughters, and Apollo killed all 7 of her sons. In some versions of this story, 1 daughter and 1 son were left living. Niobe's children were left unburied for many days. Zeus, adding to the woman's punishment, turned the other Thebians to stone. Niobe was so heartbroken by all the death that eventually she transformed into a rock. Though her rock was a weeping rock, one of which water is spewed. So that brings us to the end of our video today. This is my look. Do you like it? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Like, comment, give me any feedback. But I will be back next week with another video continuing on with the Titans. And then we'll move on to some of the monsters and the other minor gods. But I hope you guys have a great day. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye, guys.